Welcome back, everybody. Let's take a break with Mr. Stephen Shamus.
Good to see you, my friend Alex. Any big trips planned or anything going on?
No, I am homebound till October. October's going to be October. Yes, October, which is not far away. 2 months. 2 months.
Got it. Okay, cool. All right, what are we talking about
meet
today?
Me at New York for a hot dog.
I'm definitely hitting you up for tickets for sure.
Oh, of course. Here we go.
Bought a cover.
Ticket train.
I bought a cover from Mirka and Dolfo.
Oh, nice.
So
Mirka's great.
He's bringing it with him to the show. Yeah. So he owes me a cover, and I just bought a beautiful Green Arrow cover from Andy Park and Phil Hester.
Oh, nice. They're not going to be at the show.
Oh, why
I wish
not?
They would. Didn't put in an application to come. I don't know.
I'm surprised. They're great.
Peach Mocha's going to be back, so you can go get more Peach Mocha stuff.
She's awesome.
The best in the biz for sure.
Yeah, she's great. Okay, what do we got this week, Alex?
We're going to talk Batman New 52, but we're not going to talk about #1 first printings because they're a dime a dozen. We're going to talk about all the printings. There's 5 printings, newsstands, and sketch covers. So we're going to talk about those. We're going to talk about She-Venom.
That's much bigger than you. Karma's a bitch. I don't believe in karma. Whoa. Hi, Eddie. Whoa.
Because we love a good Venom. We're going to talk about Arcade the Comics Review. Might be our first R. Crumb book. I'm not sure, but it may be. And then we're going to talk about another super independent title. It's the Chrono Trigger Player's Guide.
It's interesting how some of these like kind of obscure books are kind of like coming out of nowhere, right? And selling for big money.
Yep.
It's always kind of, it's very, very cool. Correct. All right. What are we starting with, Alex?
Yeah. Let's talk about these Batman New 52 #1s.
Okay. How many copies did they print of the original #1?
Millions. Right? I bet you I can find it before we even finish.
So what is going on? What is going on with these different iterations of the book?
I think that's the thing. I think what you saw with the New 52 is, especially the #1s, it was big. They were ordered high. Like it wasn't a book that was under ordered. Like everybody bid into it. But that doesn't mean they ordered enough copies for everybody. This was like on the TV. It was, your Superman's dead. Look at the new Superman. Like everybody ran with it. It was like a Death to Superman all over again. If the stores were smart and they had the money, they ordered heavy. If they didn't understand what was going on or didn't know, which was fine because nobody knew how big of a hit it was going to be or if it was going to be a flop, they underordered. So, you're talking about Midtown Comics that probably had #1s on the shelf for 3 or 4 months, where, your mom and pop in Ohio probably sold out the first week. And what are you going to do if there's no one left? I guess you can call Midtown and ask them for some copies. But what happens is people want more copies, so they order more. So you order your second print, and since your first print sold out and everybody in the store that didn't get a copy wants one, you order more second prints for them. So you get those in and you sell them out, and you're like, hey, I need more copies, DC. And DC says, okay, we'll go to a third printing. And then it goes on until people stop ordering. When you get to like a 5th print or 6th print, more than likely the order in for that is 10,000 pieces, 8,000 pieces. That's when they'll stop. No matter how many times people say something, when they're not printing double digits, they'll just stop printing books.
Well, what also must have happened, Alex, is at the time that they were ordering 2nd, 3rd, and 4th prints, they must have still had some copies left on the shelf because the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, these are very hard printings to find. They're not easy to find, these other printings.
Well, and another thing with second printings is you order Batman 1, you sell out. Well, by the time you're selling out, you've already got your numbers in for #2. And then you have your #3. So now you can get #1s again. You can get second prints of #2. So you're ordering high. So now you have 1, 2, 3. So now #4 comes out. You're ordering enough to have it on the stack with 1, 2, 3, and 4. And it's a cycle. It's a cycle, especially a book that keeps selling. Like if people are like, I don't care about printing, I just want to read it. Well, when #5 comes out, if you have 1, 2, 3, 4 on the shelf, they're going to grab all 5 copies because they want to read it.
Yeah, so this is pretty amazing when you start hearing these numbers, and I just started noticing these numbers. Okay, the Greg Capullo sketch cover is 1 in 200. That was always a variant cover, but these are selling for a lot of money. November, and because remember, Midtown ordered 1 million copies. They got these 1 in 200s. These even the 1 in 200s on this particular book are not like crazy rare. Okay,
no, they're probably as printed as high as the lowest ordered DC book ever, right?
Right. So November of 2011, there's 175 9.8s. It's about a $550 book. Fine.
Big.
The newsstand version of this book is impossible to find. They're 200 to 250 raw. CGC doesn't break out the census, but I can't imagine there's a lot on there. And I bet you if you had a 9.8, I bet you'd be well over $1,000.
More than
200 to 250. Okay. Then the second print also came out in November. It's got a yellow orange combo. 74 9.8s. It's $125 9.8. It's $35 raw. Obviously, it's the Scott Snyder story, Greg Capullo and Jonathan Glapion art with the Greg Capullo cover. Then the third print, you're correct, did not come out until April of 2012. So by April of 2012 already, when that book came out, there must have been some fatigue, or maybe the dealers didn't order as many or whatever. It's got a red logo, 36 9.8. It's a $500 plus book in 9.8.
That's crazy.
$100 raw. Okay. Fourth print came out in May of 2012. Blue logo, 43 9.8s, $500 plus in 9.8, $125 raw. The fifth print came out in August of 2012.
That's almost a year later.
Almost a year later.
A whole year.
White with light blue, 80 9.8s. There's actually 2 9.9s. Could not even find any of those for sale, even though there's 80 of them. And that's a $75 raw book. Now, because there's double the pop on the fifth print as a third and the fourth print, maybe it's a $300-400 book in 9.8, but it's impossible. I mean, I never thought I'd see a day when those books were worth so much money, simply because they printed so many copies. But I guess people realized the later printings were very difficult to get.
Yep. And by the time you get to a fifth printing, if the secondary market was already caught up, if third printings and fourth printings were already high, people were snagging the fifth printings to flip them, not just to read them. So that's why the pop's higher. That's why there's more out there in the world. So
for sure. All right, what do we got next, Alex?
She-Venom.
Right.
She-Venom.
So She-Venom. Right. It was announced that Michelle Williams is going to play who we think is going to be She-Venom in the next Venom film.
Yeah.
Michelle Williams, I think, won an Academy Award at some point, right? I think she won.
Oh, did she? That's news to me. I think
so. I'm going to go look her up. While I look her up, talk a little bit about She-Venom.
She-Venom's Anne Wang. She was the ex-wife of Eddie Brock before he got the Venom powers. And she's kind of popped in and out throughout the Marvel universe. At one point she, was helping Spider-Man, give Eddie Brock his backstory to help him understand and like defeat Venom, and she got hurt, so Eddie gave her the Venom symbiote, and then she gave it back, and then she got put in jail because they were trying to trap Venom, and then Venom gave her the symbiote again. She broke out of jail. One of the main things here is that one of the times that she got the Venom symbiote was when she was pregnant with Dylan Brock, who is a Venom as well, and that symbiote helped Dylan become who he is now, which is a Venom. So she's important in the comics, not as big as a character as Venom or Dylan by far, but she has been in the comics and she has been a Venom. So we see her in all 2 of the movies. So yeah, of course she's going to come in and go hard.
Yep. So she's nominated 5 times.
That's a lot.
It's a lot to be nominated for.
That's a lot of nominations.
Supporting actress for Brokeback Mountain.
Oh, I did not know that.
Leading role for Blue Valentine.
News to me.
Leading role for My Week with Marilyn. Supporting role for Manchester by the Sea.
I remember that. Yep.
And The Fabelmans for a leading role.
Brand new. Yeah, that's a newer one.
Yeah. So, actually,
and now we feel She-Venom.
And now she's She-Venom. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So here we go. Amazing Spider-Man 375, March of 1993. 2,627 9.8s.
That's a lot.
1 9.9. It's about $100 book because of that. It's got a holographics cover.
I love a good holo
story.
cover.
Yeah, story ties in with Venom, Lethal Protector #1, John Jameson and Chameleon backup stories, David Michelini story, Mark Bagley and Pat Olaf art, Mark Bagley and Randy Emberlin cover. Do you know what the print? There's a printing error version with two 9.8s. Are you familiar with what the printing error is?
No, I think these are one of those things. It's a hollow foil, so a lot of times those hollow foils
Oh,
get messed up
got it.
in the printing,
Got it.
and of course they're literally just pushed into each other. So when you have a printing error, it's the foil's just off a little bit, like it's not covered. It's just like it messed up. The printing error happens. Does happen sometime, and
Got
weird.
it.
Sometimes CGC, when they do manufacturing errors, sometimes they get blue labels, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they get green labels.
Got it. Okay. And then the other book to take a look at is Venom, Sinner Takes All, #3, October of 1995. 427 9.8s. That's 150 to 200 plus book. Sin Eater and Ann Weying appearance. Jury backup story. Larry Hama, our friend, and Dan Slott stories. Greg Luzniak and John Calumet art. Greg Luzniak and Scott Koblish cover. All right. Before we have our two indie books, what is your pick of the week, Alex?
Pick of the week. I still got San Diego Hangover, and I still like talking about toys. And I talked about Super 7 before, and I think last year I even mentioned like my purchase, and you can see it kind of in the background, the SpongeBob Patrick 2-pack from last year. Hide behind my, and it's a heart, and it's cardboard, and they break apart. This year they were doing Ninja Turtles, and one of my this is probably my favorite toy. So they did this action figure. So it looks like the old SpaghettiOs can. That the Ninja Turtle SpaghettiOs.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of, you know, the Chinese noodles, the crunchy noodles.
Yeah, same difference. Yeah.
Put those in those things.
So it's, you open the lid, and inside is an action figure, and then the background is the stuff.
I like that.
Super cool. I like a good packaging. Like the action figure. If this action figure was carded, I probably would have never bought it. I bought it because of the packaging. And Super 7 is really good about that. They've been doing some really good packaging. That reaction line, they bought it from Funko 8 years ago, and have just like taken it to the next level. It's really great.
Got it.
Cool. Wouldn't be surprised if Funko regrets that and buys Super 7 sometime in the future.
That's funny. All right, cool. All right, what do we got next, Alex?
Arcade. I'm excited to talk about this.
Yeah, why is this book so expensive, even in a low mid grade?
It's an underground comic by probably the biggest underground comic people of all time, right? You have R. Crumb, huge, Kim Ditch, you have Aline Kaminsky, who rest in peace, was Aline Quincy Crumb, Spain Rodriguez, Gilbert Shelton, S. Clay Wilson. This is a huge underground book, and underground comics, not independent. These are underground. These are sold in head shops that sold bongs. These were sold at concerts by guys that had just a bunch of stack of them. These are not books that were put in a magazine rack in a comic book store. You had to know this is like specialty. And these are, and the covers by R. Crumb. Like this is like the what is it, the Mount Rushmore of independent comics people. Right. And this was like perfect timing, 75 and 76. It's just a big book in the underground movement, in the underground comics world. It's just huge. It's just huge.
Yeah. So wait till you start hearing these prices, Alex. So Arcade the Comics Review, #1, by Printmint Publishing, spring of 1975. There's only 5.98s, 4.96, 10.9.4, 4.9.2, and 2.9.0. And a 9.8 just recently sold for $700 on a book that we don't even really know much about, right? And then Robert Crumb, S. Clay Wilson, Bill Griffith, Jay Kinner, Jay Lynch, and Art Spiegelman. Art Spiegelman. Yeah, he was a
big names.
Big name from Mouse. Okay, what are we closing with today? Another obscure one.
Another weirdo random book, Chrono Trigger Player's Guide.
Right. Okay. What the heck is this, Alex?
So Chrono Trigger is a video game. It was a video game for the Super Nintendo, and it was one of the biggest RPG video games. I mean, definitely of the time. RPGs were really starting to come into practice in video games. Not until later with discs that got bigger. But it was popular, and everybody, all the names attached to this game were huge. I believe one of the guys was the creator of Final Fantasy. One of the biggest guys for me, I'm not a big video game, but Akira Toriyama wrote it. and Akira Toriyama is the writer of Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z and all that stuff. That's the guy. So like this video game had like, again, I said it before, it's your Mount Rushmore of like Japanese video game and manga people, and like all these guys that did it. Yuji Haraji, Akira Toriyama, Nobu Uematsu, Hironobu Sagachi, they all are giants on their own, and this is one of their earlier things. Saying that, a player's guide, which is a guide you would buy to kind of like read while you're playing the video game if you get stuck or something, those things it is not something that is saved and kept. And once the Super Nintendo was like out, and you had the 64 and the Dreamcast and the PlayStations or whatever, these things get thrown away. You can go to any Salvation Army, and you can go and you'll find PlayStation 2 players guides on the rack somewhere in the book section. Always. So these aren't easy to find. The cover's by Akira Toriyama. It's beautiful, extremely hard to find.
Got it. Okay, so here we go. Chrono Trigger number 1. It's not a number. It's just Chrono Trigger 9.4. There's 2 9.2s. An 8.0 recently sold for $350.
Yeah.
So very, very difficult to find this book.
Yeah. And
difficult.
they're not cheap. You're never going to find them just in the wild.
No. So, all right. Well, we thank you for joining us today. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the field below. Otherwise, we will see you all next week. Same bad time.
Same bad channel.